There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Shall we play a game?
Why, yes. I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Live from North Little Rock, it's Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love. I'm your host, Shane Stacks. We are live right now for Free Comic Book Day, and on the scene, live report from Free Comic Book Day at Collector's Edition in North Little Rock in the Park Hill area. I'll be talking about that more here in a second. This is Shane Plays Geek Talk. I'm your host, Shane Stacks. Just a fun live Geek Talk radio show. So if you're listening on May 5th, at 1 p.m. on 101.1 FM, The Answer, or if you're listening by the live stream at http 1011fmtheanswer.com. Glad you're here. And if you're listening by podcast or Krypton Radio or on YouTube or whatever after the fact, also super glad you're here. Join today for Free Comic Book Day. We're going to be just geeking out on comic books, and we're going to be talking, and now I'm going to let you know up front, I think a week is fair game. We're going to be talking Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War, the movie, came out. This is such a big thing. I think waiting a week is fair. But today will be spoilers. We're going to talk about the movie.
I think it's only fair that we should have the pirate spoiler announcement.
The pirate spoiler announcement?
With the impressionist.
Can you do it? All right. So now this is William Brackeen, friend of the show. William Brackeen.
I totally lost the impressionist on that comment.
Yeah, and then he just threw
no idea what you're talking about.
He just threw comedian Michael Brown for the loop and under the bus. So it's like what, like, it's spoilers. Like what are we talking about?
Here there be spoilers.
Here there be spoilers.
That was comedian and host of Brain Trust.
Yes.
Brain Trust game show. What's your next? You're going to be in Little Rock Comic Con in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, man.
All right, so tell us about that real quick.
We're going to be in Little Rock Comic Con in a couple of weeks.
All righty, with Brain Trust.
Yeah, man.
Little Rock Comic Con in the Benton Event Center.
In the Benton Event Center,
okay.
not necessarily in Little Rock proper, but we are excited. It's our third year doing Little Rock Comic Con, and we're right in the middle of our third season of the show. And we're real excited about doing this. Is our first local show this entire year.
Yeah, that's what I was telling somebody. They were asking for you before the show. They're like, yeah, and it's X-Men Origins Wolverine, Logan, courtesy of the AR Avengers. We also have Miles Morales Spider-Man. We have Rocket Raccoon, Squirrel Girl, and other exciting things, courtesy of local cosplay group AR Avengers.
They look great.
Anyway, so we've got William Brackeen, friend of the show. We've got comedian Michael Brown, host of Brain Trust. Again, we are live at Collector's Edition Comic Book Store. In the JFK in the Park Hill area of North Little Rock. We're having an event here till 2. We've been going since noon, but they'll be open till 5 today with free comic books. So just come on by. They've also got 25% off back issues and graphic novels and, like I said, free comic books. There's cosplay going on right now, and of course we're doing the radio show. So you can also, for free comic books, and the sale, get on over to the comic book store, which is their sister location, the Treasure Hill Shopping Center.
See, Shane, you had the idea to gather a group of remarkable people.
Yes.
For this show.
I did.
And that's why Bill and I are here.
Okay.
Because we're two of the most remarkable people
you
can
are. It's
get for this.
Yeah. We assembled a team.
Yes.
And now Infinity War took 10 years. I think we took about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But by goodness, we're here. So, folks, again, we're going to be talking today about Infinity War. Just want to let you know we're going to have fun with it, but there will be spoilers. So I just want to give you that heads up.
There'll be spoilers.
So it's not only Free Comic Book Day. And if you're listening by somewhere where you're not local, go support your local comic book store. But if you can make it to collector's edition or
it's pretty much free comic book day.
It's everywhere,
all over the planet.
Yeah, it's
right
everywhere.
now, right?
But Michael Tierney's doing a great job here. But if you can make it out, come on out. So anyway, okay. So real quick, Zach, I have to banter with you, or else I will get annihilated by. By Sal, the head of my team, Sal, and his grandmother and her dog Muffin. If I don't, and we just pre-recorded a show for next weekend where we interviewed Jeremy Crawford and Kate Welch of D&D about Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and we did. I did not get to banter with Zach, so I'm going to get flipping annihilated next weekend. So
you want to let's avoid that this week.
Let's do that. So Zach,
yeah, what's up?
2 questions for you. But before, we're not doing a news segment. We're diving in. We're going to go Infinity War. Got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
All right. One, a couple of years ago, I brought you a comic book for Free Comic Book Day, and your would be called a millennial, and you kind of poked it and prodded it like, what is this strange paper thing that you've handed me? So, do you want me to bring you a comic book?
Yes, bring me one. Yeah.
Good answer.
There's Spider-Man. There's Avengers.
Correct answer.
That is the correct answer.
Okay. I brought him a Captain America one 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Man, this thing's got staples in
He's
it.
like, what is this? All right. It is. I want to assure everybody that comic books are a millennial accessible device.
Sure.
Yeah. So it doesn't. They're very great on power.
They really are.
So
they take no time to charge at all.
No.
Oh, Rocket Raccoon just got some love. So, some customers here are loving Rocket Raccoon. Okay, so I will bring you a comic book. You can go on freecomicbookday.com, and while you're there in the studio, and look at what they have, and I'll tell you, if you see something you like, I'll tell you if they have it here or not, because supplies are limited. The other thing is, and I'm going to go ahead and get your take now, because that's what we're talking about today. Zach, did you like Infinity War?
I've seen it twice now, and it was a powerful movie. It was great.
Powerful movie.
Yes, it was.
Powerful movie. A bad movie can be powerful.
I will concur with Zach. Yes.
Yeah, it's a powerful movie. So, but did you think it was a good movie?
Oh, it was a great movie to me.
Great movie.
Okay.
All right. Since we're talking spoilers, what was the character taking getting their bell rung that hurt you the most?
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it was him. It was Spider-Man.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Mr. Stark.
That touched my soul. That really did.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that later here in the show, my take on that. But we're going to ask that same question of Michael and William. Okay. And like I said, again, folks, we'll be talking Infinity War. I'm going to throw some show notes out there real quick. I just want to remind everybody that if you're listening by podcast or on Krypton Radio or on YouTube or whatever, the show notes for today's show will be up for the podcast version, not the live version, at shaneplays.com. Last week's show was really good. We had pro comics colorist Brett R. Smith, and we talked about what does a colorist do and why is coloring so important to the comic books. And he basically said they're like the cinematographer of comic books. They're an artist in their own right.
Sure.
It's and they don't get the notice I think that they should sometimes. Now, so go listen to that. We do go out as a podcast a few days after the live show on our blog at shaneplays.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and more. And don't forget, I also put the show out on YouTube. Some people keep up with it that way, just depending on the topic of that show. And then last but never, ever, ever, ever least, we are carried on Krypton Radio. Shane Plays is carried on Krypton Radio. Krypton Radio is sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. Krypton Radio.com. Last thing, show notes wise here, we're going to dig on in. Shane Plays sponsor Arkansas RPG Con 2018 badge sales are now open. Vendor and sponsorship options are also open. Go to arpgcon.com for more info and make sure to follow Arkansas RPG Con on Facebook. Okay, guys, no news segment today. I want to dig in.
No news is good news.
I do want to ask to lead things off. Did you like it, and what was the scene that got you in the feels most? So, and Michael Brown is throwing some let Bill go first love. So, William Brackeen, man, myth, legend.
I would like to echo Zach's comment that for a superhero film, it has a lot of gravitas.
A lot.
There's a lot. I mean, it has a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
There's places in it where it's very somber. but it also is, the action is almost nonstop throughout the film. And even with that, there's a lot of moments of characterization. There's some quiet moments. There's a lot of humor. It hits all the notes that you want it to hit. And the worst thing I can say about it is that we've got to wait for the second half to come out.
Amen.
Whenever it's scheduled to come out. As far as the scene that got me the most, it's the scene on Titan where they're wrestling Thanos and they've almost got the gauntlet off his hand, and Star-Lord comes to the realization that Gamora is dead.
Yeah, that would hurt.
And he loses it.
Yep.
That was, to me, probably the most human moment in the film, which is weird to say because you're talking about 4 superpowered people fighting a giant purple alien on an alien
Well,
planet.
that's the challenge.
On his hand that can change reality.
I mean, that's the challenge to telling these over-the-top superhero movies is still making them human, right?
Yes.
So, no, that scene got me because I'm like, I mean, they had him beat. And then because, if you lost the person you loved, you probably wouldn't be rational at that moment either. So, they had him beat. Okay, so comedian and host of Brain Trust, Michael Brown, what was did you enjoy the movie? Was it good? And what moment got you in the feels?
I enjoyed the movie tremendously. I thought it was excellent. One of the reasons why I thought it was excellent, everything that Bill said, I would like to echo, but I would also like to get it from a cinematic point of view. The fact that they managed to make a 2.5-hour movie with a vast array of characters and make it work was tremendous. It's 100% the Russo brothers just crushed it. And they put on a clinic of this is how you do a massive superhero movie.
And they didn't just work them in naturally.
No.
They introduced every character.
Absolutely.
So that
even if you hadn't seen any of the other movies.
Somebody had asked me prior to seeing the movie which of the films you have to see before you go see it.
Correct.
And I listed several that I thought would be good to see before you saw it.
Yeah.
And after I saw it, I came back to him and I said, those would be helpful, but not necessary.
Not necessary. It's amazing how they pulled it off. I can't believe how well they pulled it off. That being said, as far as what scene got me in the feels, I was just so happy to see everybody lose. Because we've all read the Infinity Gauntlet comics like 25, 30 years ago or whenever they came out. So we all kind of already know the story, being the Gen X geeks that we are. We're kind of on top of it.
We'll just say, I mean, it's not over yet.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And of course it's going to be resolved in a much different way than they did in the comics, probably.
Right.
That being said, keep an eye on Nebula. But I will say that just cinematically it was a wonder to behold that they managed to make it cohesive. There was never, like you said, that there was breakneck action all the way through it, but there were character moments that were very, very interesting. As far as so I didn't really get feels so much, but I will say the one line that I was like, and that just hit me right in the geek is what it was Peter Parker saying, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
And that was that is a callback line to the last spoken line of David Tennant as the Doctor.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
And that was, I was like,
you think that was intentional?
Absolutely, it was intentional. Because if you were like me and you were just like smiling through everybody evaporating and dying,
and then all of a sudden
it's like, oh, dude, okay, now I feel it.
Yeah, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my stuff after the break.
Right on.
But I did want to remind people. So with Infinity War, one of the things that excited me, not just about a superhero movie or a Marvel movie or a geek movie, just from a wow, look at what we're doing in Western culture entertainment. This is the only movie I know of where there was a specific plan for 10 years to get here and to put all these pieces into place.
That's kind of where I'm coming from. The fact that they've done this with, what is it, 19 movies is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this was, so Infinity War, was that the 19th? Or was that the 20th?
I think it's
somewhere around there. I mean, there's been a bunch.
Yeah,
you know?
I want to say Ant-Man and the Wasp is the 20th movie.
So for 10 years since Iron Man 1 came out, we didn't know it was Iron Man 1 then, but Iron Man 1 took Iron Man, who's always been one of my favorite characters, and suddenly, you got your Iron Man, and that is still the only acceptable Iron Man armor in comic books for me. Yeah. So quick footnote here. What we're talking about, I neglected to mention in the Mad Frenzy of Live Radio that Michael Brown was actually wearing a T-shirt that had the classic Iron Man armor, also known as the Model 4, which is my personal favorite. It was the longest running Iron Man armor I think that he's ever used in comics. It was first introduced in Iron Man number 85 in 1976 and was for basically 10 years was the Iron Man armor up until 1985, I believe, when the Silver Centurion armor was introduced. So this armor is the one that it's a very sleek red and gold design. It's got the power pods on the hips, and it's just what a lot of people think of, especially from, if you were reading comics in the 70s and 80s as the Iron Man armor. So it was designed according to the Marvel Wikia by Len Wein, Roger Slifer, and Herb Trimpe. I think it's Herb Trimpe. That's how you say it. I don't say that out loud very often. And it was just a long running Iron Man armor, sort of the classic armor is even the nickname for it. So, and just to complete the picture, as long as we're talking geek fashion or lack thereof, as the case may be, should also be noted that in addition to Michael and I's love for the classic Iron Man armor, that William Brackeen was wearing a nice Green Lantern t-shirt. He's a huge Green Lantern fan, so he was rocking that. And I'm sure Richard McBain, who appears later in the podcast, was rocking something geeky, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. I was wearing a t-shirt that was sort of a blend of the Superman and Batman symbol that I actually got from work, so which is kind of cool. Anyway, back to the show. Mike's wearing, I can't remember the artist who designed that armor, but for most of the 80s, late 70s through mid to late 80s, or mid 80s, that was his armor. Yeah, man. That classic gold with the power pods on the side. Yeah. It's like red and yellow. The classic Iron Man look. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I'm sporting it.
Yeah, I love Iron Man, and then they came along and made Iron Man 1, and suddenly Iron Man went from being only somebody who really big comic book people liked into like everybody loves Iron Man all of a sudden.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Iron Man for a really long time was kind of Marvel's sort of redheaded stepchild as far as the publishing went. I mean, he did well enough to stay in his own title. He was like a level above Ant-Man, but especially with all the Cold War mechanics with the book, it was really, as time had marched on, it was really archaic and not served well. And it kind of, in a lot of ways, the book really just didn't work.
Because he went from being a weapon baron to my weapons.
And they did the storyline where they turned him in. He went evil, and then they turned him into a teenager, and they really didn't know what to do with it.
This is all in the comics, folks.
In the comics. I thought I probably
now they did. They did in the movies. Just want to reiterate a little bit into his because in the comics he became a full blown alcoholic.
Oh sure.
And in the movies they went into that some with him drinking too much.
There's an interesting parallel that I want to make with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Cinematic Universe and this character, because the character that correlates to Iron Man's position in that way, in that they kind of kept him going just because he was one of the Avengers.
Can I guess? Oh.
And the character that DC that has never really worked, you can guess.
Well, I was going to say for a while Green Lantern.
No.
Who? Okay.
No,
who?
It's Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, okay.
And now they are the flagships of the two cinematic universes.
That is interesting, isn't it? I know that. Well, I don't even want to go into all this. I want to spin it on Infinity War, but those are some interesting points you're bringing up. But yeah, like I said, after the break, I'll be like, here's what I thought of the movie and what was the part that got my feels the most. But it was fascinating to me from an experiment. What's going to happen? Can they pull this off? They have,
as far as I'm concerned.
But before I saw the movie, not only was I geeked as like, wow, this is like a big, huge, summer crossover comic book event in a movie.
Yeah.
But can they pull this off? Can they build towards a movie for 10 years and then pull it off? And so I was excited to see it from that standpoint. So I was excited from two different, because I've got to give Marvel Studios all the credit in the world. I mean, they've been the closest thing they've had to a stinker was the Thor: The Dark World, and that was still a good movie. It's just people's quote-unquote least favorite.
I just rewatched that.
We're forgetting that Hulk movie.
But that's not really, I guess it is part of it. That's the one. Anyway, I don't want to go, okay, all right, yes. So they haven't had a lot of stinkers.
The Edward Norton.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna end it there because I'm purposefully trying to keep us from going down rabbit holes.
Okay.
We're going to go to a break. When we get back, I'll give your take on it, and then we'll just go into stuff we liked, didn't like, thoughts we had, that kind of thing.
I love it.
Yeah. So, okay.
If we want to go down a rabbit hole, Rocket's right over there.
Yeah. P.S. Not a rabbit. Yeah. The guy cosplay, that's my friend Zeb. I actually work with him. All week I've been like, P.S. Not a rabbit.
Way to put Zeb on blast.
That's okay. Well, he's with the AR Avengers. We got Squirrel Girl. We got Rocket Raccoon. We got X-Men Origins Logan. We've got Miles Morales Spider-Man. We got some great cosplay up here, courtesy of the AR Avengers, AR-Vengers. Look them up on Facebook. All right, I'm going to throw out a little bit of love to a sponsor, and then we'll have a break. And when we come back, we'll be talking more about Infinity War with friend of the show, William Brackeen, comedian and host of Brain Trust, Michael Brown. And we're here live on scene at Collector's Edition in North Little Rock, Park Hill area for Free Comic Book Day. Come on out and get you a free comic book. It's going on, or up to 3 free comic backs. It's free comic books. It's happening right now. Okay, 10 years strong. The 10th annual Little Rock Comic Con, speaking of it, Mike.
Yeah.
We'll be there in a couple of weeks. Is May 19th and 20th at the Benton Event Center. This year features, and I'm actually very excited about this, the biggest selection of comics in LRCC history with 15. Count them, 15 booths of nothing but comics, plus other great vendors as well. Because a lot of these comic book conventions you go to now, it's like, where's the comics? And they're just kind of like, well, they're over there kind of in the corner, So, I mean, comic books, right? Okay, so don't miss the cosplay contest or the after-party VIP con, or with VIP con guest at Dave & Buster's. Con guests include Blake Foster of Power Rangers, Michelle Harrison of the Flash TV show, Transformers comic artist Robbie Musso and Jesse Wittenrick, and Timothy Lim is going to be a guest there now. He's done a lot of work for Marvel, and he's doing his own stuff now with like was it My Hero Macadamia, which is like on its 3rd printing. But anyway, celebrating 10 years strong, this year's Little Rock Comic Con is May 19th and 20th. Find Little Rock Comic Con on Facebook or visit lrcomiccon.com. Comic book lovers, visit thewildstars.com today. From the mind of author and comic book industry expert Michael Tierney, it's not just a comic book, it's a comic book novel. The Wild Stars is sci-fi and so much more. Learn the explanations behind UFOs and space gods. This isn't the Twilight Zone. This is the region of the Milky Way galaxy known as the Wild Stars. We guarantee you've never read anything like it. The complete comic book novel took 20 years to tell, with one reviewer noting, the story of the Wild Stars stretches ambitiously across space and time, from small-town murders to the destruction of planets, with every event given multiple layers of meaning. If you haven't read The Wild Stars, you're missing out. Visit thewildstars.com today.
The die is cast.
Plunge into worlds of fantastic adventure where dragons lie and the undead stalk the shades of your mind's imagines. Where creatures of legend plunder wealth through the horror of their passage. Monsters grim and foul hold the ecstasy of gold and the renown of glory. All this and more awaits you and your friends in the unlimited, fantastic world of the Castles and Crusades role-playing game from Trollord Games. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy today. A rules-light, adaptable game that has stood the test of time. 12 years in constant publication with no new additions, Castles and Crusades is the original, easy-to-play attribute check system. Join us and unleash your imagination. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy of Castles and Crusades today. Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/Shane Plays. Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love. We are live on site, on scene, as it were, at Collector's Edition Comic Book Store in the Park Hill area of North Little Rock on JFK. It's Free Comic Book Day. We're having a live, super spectacular Shane Plays Collector's Edition crossover event from noon till 2. And there's about 30 minutes of that left. We got cosplay up here. We're doing the live radio show. We've got Rocket Raccoon. We got Squirrel Girl. We've got X-Men Origins Logan. We've got Miles Morales Spider-Man. Courtesy the AR-Vengers. Look them up on Facebook. Hey, Mike, come on around and throw these cans on if you want. I'm going to let Mike pitch what's happening at both of his stores here today. Michael Tierney. Go ahead and say something, Mike. Make sure I got you there.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, you're good. All right. So why don't you tell people what's going on at both of your stores today for Free Comic Book Day?
Sure. Well, Free Comic Book Day, as you know, is a national event.
Right.
And we purchased a big selection of free comics. We're giving away 3 copies or 3 different books to every person who comes in today. They don't have to make any purchase. But we're also having a sale today, 25% off back issues, graphic novels. And, of course, we've always got a wide selection of both new and old comics every day.
Right. And I also want to make sure people know that you have the Wild Stars comic book that you've been publishing for quite a while. And it's you've even got it like a collected edition, big hardback
actually,
now.
Next year's going to be my 35th anniversary of publishing them.
Right on. I knew it was getting close.
Yeah.
I've done 3 series of comics, portfolios. I've done a graphic novel. Sequel to the graphic novel was a novel with graphics. I've got a third novel coming out here in July.
Okay, and then I also want to make sure people know that you have you've got the Edgar Rice Burroughs books coming out, which are amazing. I'm looking at them. They're 4 coffee table quality. Well, not coffee table quality. How would you describe them? I mean, you could put them on your coffee table, but I mean, they're amazing histories of Edgar Rice Burroughs' 100-year art chronology.
Right, Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, he's the fellow who inspired things like Star Wars, Avatar. Right. I don't know if you've heard of him, but they're kind of popular.
A couple things.
And so he's the guy who really helped spawn the whole science fiction genre as we know it, and or he was one of the big elements of it. And so the chronology, it's a history of all the artists who have ever illustrated him over. Since he's been going. Volume 1 concerns all the pulp magazines. Volume 2 are all the hardcovers, paperbacks, and both in the U.S. paperbacks and hardcovers in both the U.S. and the U.K. And then Volume 3 is all the American Tarzan comics, and Volume 4 are all the other comics of anything Burroughs made here in the U.S. plus all the British Tarzan comics, and he's more popular in Britain than he is in America.
And you actually worked on this in conjunction with the Edgar Rice Burroughs Trust Institute. I don't remember the name of it.
Right, Edgar Rice Burroughs Inc. He was one of the first creators to ever incorporate himself, and his
so this has their full support. And, and you've also you did all of this, but then you're publishing it in conjunction just by coincidence with another Shane Play sponsor, Stephen Chenault, Chenault and Gray, Trollord Games. Okay. And folks, if you come into Collector's Edition today, they're up here. I don't know if you can buy one today. Still waiting for his inventory, but you can look at them. They're right here.
Yeah, I've got some samples down here now.
And the one last thing I want to tell people, you're doing an online web strip with Jolton Johnny Lucas, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's not out yet.
Yeah, it hasn't started, but
Okay.
It's Beyond the Farthest Star.
Okay.
And it's another Edgar Rice Burroughs property.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get 20 in the can, they're going to start running on a weekly basis on their subscription weekly service.
All right. Well, listen, Michael, standing in front of me, person to person, not customer to store owner, not radio guy to somebody who advertises.
Yeah.
This is person to person. You were the first comic book store I ever walked into.
Oh, thank you.
I heard it. I was in 7th grade. Somebody I was like, what is this mystical thing you're telling me about? And I've been shopping with you since the mid-'80s.
Thank you.
You were also the very first person to sponsor my show, and you've been with me since the beginning, which is why I wanted to do this today. Most people radio people will charge to come do. I just wanted to do this for you and have a fun day.
And I just have you here.
Yeah, thank you for being a friend and a sponsor. Just want to shake your hand.
Yeah,
people at home imagine that I just shook his hand, but I really appreciate you, Michael.
He really did.
Yeah,
I saw it.
There's witnesses.
I want to thank you. You've been with me since day one on Shane Plays. We're coming up at the end of May. 3 years I've been doing Shane Plays.
Great. Well, hey, thank you for all the great promotions and getting the word out. You can't get enough programming like this out there.
Right.
It's great for people to know it, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, all right, Mike.
It's been great to have Mike and Bill here, too.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah.
So,
and we're old friends, too, man.
I was carrying Mike's comic when he was making one.
That's right. That's
Gecko.
right.
The
Gecko, sir.
All right. So, thanks again, Michael. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me here.
And I think I see Richard McBain floating around, friend of the show. I think he's going to jump on with us, fellow geek and friend of the show. All right, talking Infinity War. We're full-on spoilers today. Just throw the cans on there, Richard, and jump on in. Anybody who listens to Shane Plays knows Richard McBain. He's fellow geek and friend of the show, just like
Richard
William.
and I have done shows together.
Yeah, just like Bill and Mike. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what we were talking about before the break is did we think that Infinity War was a good movie, and what part got us in the feels the most? So I was going to give my take, but now since Richard's jumped in, I'm going to go ahead and let you give your take.
Have you guys already covered
Those
that?
two have.
I
haven't
given
yet.
their piece.
But spoilers are a go. So you do whatever you want. All right.
So short answer to is Infinity War a good movie? Absolutely.
Okay.
Marvel and the brass at Marvel are continuing to hit home run after home run, in my opinion. There have
Bill's
been a few
favorite
missteps.
movie so far has been The Hulk with Edward Norton. That was his favorite.
Interesting.
I'm being facetious.
That's a dark horse pick, but I like that.
I'm being facetious. I will say this about The Hulk, though. When what's-his-face, they kind of gave him sort of a super serum, the guy that they were trying to turn into a super soldier.
Eli Roth's
And,
character.
there were scenes in there where I was like, oh, I see how they could do a Captain America movie now, because he was doing some pretty cool stuff. Anyway, all right, back to you, Richard.
It's absolutely a movie that the Russo brothers were able to bring together all of these, numerous characters and storylines and arcs, and make it a very cohesive, tight, 2.5 hour plus runtime film that didn't deviate or get too far off in the weeds or stray, off of beaten path of really what the central, in my opinion, the central story is of Infinity War, which is the story of Thanos and really humanizing.
Oddly enough,
his
Thanos
character.
was kind of the protagonist. Oddly enough,
right?
in a way.
And there's definitely some chatter, I think, with.
He was the protagonist in the overall arc.
Well, in the end credits,
Thanos will return. Not the Avengers.
Right.
Well, it said the Avengers, and it blew away in dust and said Thanos. Right. I can't remember if that's what happened or not. So, but anyway, it said it didn't say the Avengers.
It didn't say the
Avengers.
Avengers.
It said Thanos
right.
will return.
So it's definitely a definitive statement, I think, by the creative group behind Infinity War. As far as the feels part, anybody that reads comics, obviously, everybody on this panel, I'm sure, is very aware of the story from the comics traditionally.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's variation and deviation from that, which is fine.
You have to. I mean,
you have to.
It's different mediums.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the two biggest feels part for me was Tom Holland.
That's the same as Mr. Mike.
Tom. I mean, he's just. I mean, I liked Tobey Maguire. I liked Andrew Garfield in both those roles previously. I liked them for what they brought on their own to it. But Tom is just really embodied
he's got sort
that
of
role.
He's like strong but adorable at the same time. You kind of want to tassel his hair.
Right.
You know,
and he definitely,
whatever,
to me, is the quintessential Peter Parker on film. Or
I don't disagree with you.
On film or any other medium, really, for that part.
Yeah.
So
the Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good, I don't want to go, was your...
That was there, and then really the scene, and it's that one, and the other one was the scene where Star-Lord is confronting Thanos.
Yeah, that was Williams.
That was really because you could at that moment everything leading up to that point in both Guardians movies and anything else tertiary wise was very hinting at his feelings for Gamora and obviously putting that out there. But that was the first time I think he crushed it, in my opinion. And it just, you could see it in his face and in his tone and just right face to face with him.
He lost his crap.
He did. And so that was a true love moment for me where that was really portrayed.
Well, as Bill put it, as a very
perfectly.
Human moment.
A very human moment. I would agree.
It cost them everything.
And it did, right. And as much as you can, Monday morning quarterback go, he blew it, and he completely ruined it for everybody.
It's completely Star-Lord's fault that half the universe is now gone.
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, you can relate to that raw emotion, that raw feeling right then.
No doubt.
When he finds out. So, to me, those are the two probably biggest single.
Well, thanks for recapping what we've.
That's so funny.
I thought I could come in and
were you listening on the radio on the way in?
I just love the independent verification. That's all.
And we got Rocket Raccoon from the Air Avengers, who is patrolling the comic book store. I don't know if he's looking for people to shoot or to keep people safe or both.
I think he's keeping everybody in line.
He's keeping everybody in line,
right?
And he wants to go. Oh. Yeah. So can you talk through that? Do you think you could do your mouth a little bit? Come on up here, and I'm not trying to kiss you. Just say hi to.
What's up, humies?
Oh, there you go. That was Rocket Raccoon, courtesy. And there's Randy Duncan, comic book professor Randy Duncan. So he's been on the show before out of Arkadelphia.
It's a party here.
It's a party here.
The collector's edition.
It's a Shane Plays party full of the friends of all the cool people I've gotten to meet and talk with on the show. So, all right, so here's my take.
We've been waiting.
Yeah, I got to see the second time before I can say if I think it's a good movie.
Oh.
So, let me lay on you why I'm saying this.
Yeah, lay it.
All right. So it took me, I was so hyped up. One, because, hey, this is, wow, Infinity, blah, blah. But two, like I told you, they've been building towards this for 10 years. I was so mentally hyped up. It took me like half the movie for my brain to just chill and start enjoying it as entertainment. Okay? So I'm just like, and so I was just so hyped up. Like it took me a while to just sit back and be entertained, right? The other thing was it had so much stuff going on. Like it had it had all these cool things going on. Like it was like 3 or 4 or 5 mini movies smashed together. And every individual mini-movie or fight scene was amazing. And it was like a geek's dream to see this stuff happening.
And what's amazing to me so far, and I don't know what you're going to say as your feels moment yet, but we've had like 3 people so far talk about that, and nobody has mentioned Loki's death.
I know.
Well, you just stole my thunder, Brackeen.
Way to yank the rug out from under him.
Even though that's fine.
That's the danger of going loud.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't. So here's the deal. Even though I was like mentally, just my brain was like, and I was just so hyped. That scene, the opening of it,
the first 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes were amazing. Now, here's something they did that was very smart storytelling. Thanos owned the Hulk in 3.5 seconds. Mm-hmm. So everybody knows that the Hulk is the most physically
powerful.
Please stop attacking Searcher. We need to leave, right? From Thor Ragnarok, right?
Right.
And I mean,
big monster.
Yeah, I mean he owned. Yeah, so Thanos owned him like he owned Loki in the first Avengers. I mean, in fact, they even kind of echoed that with what happened there. And then after that, they got the thing where the Hulk won't come out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that because he got his butt beat, or what's going on? So,
thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
so
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, he's like, I got my butt beat. I'm not the strongest. But anyway, they didn't say that in the movie, but he just won't come out. Bruce Banner and Tony Stark's like, dude, you're embarrassing me. But Bruce Banner can't get the Hulk to come out. Which leads to a fake out from the trailers Where in the trailers you see the Hulk running with everybody,
Wakanda,
and in the movie it's Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very smart to establish Thanos don't mess around.
Right.
One thing that made me sad was like all the people that survived at the end of Thor Ragnarok got killed.
And
one
the Asgardians are
just got wiped out. Just
gone.
Wiped out. So
Genocide.
they went through all of that. Just to get killed anyway. So, but that's as an overall MCU arc, not as an arc in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But it did feel like one of my most disappointing in movies ever was when at the end of Aliens they survive, and at the beginning of Alien 3 they just die.
Yeah.
And that's been one. It's like, well, everything they just went through.
Yeah,
why?
They pulled a David Fincher.
Right. So that's how I felt about the Asgardians. But that aside, Loki dying was the feels for me.
Because he really got killed. He didn't get just eliminated by the gauntlet.
He didn't go to dust. He got killed. But also, when push came to shove, he spared Thor's life.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, don't kill my brother. And one of my favorite scenes from cinema, fiction, literature, whatever, is the redemption of Boromir from Lord of the Rings. When Boromir comes back to his senses and goes down fighting to protect the hobbits, right? He goes, what have I done? And that was kind of Loki's redemption of Boromir moment for me. So that really got me in the feels.
I get it.
That really got me in the feels.
Yeah.
That, at the end of the day, Loki, push came to shove. Now, by Norse mythology, he wouldn't have. Yeah. But in the MC universe, he did, which is cool. So the other thing, as far as the people like dissolving to dust and everything at the end, none of that got me in the feels because I've read so many comic books. I know that crap's going to get reversed.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't know that, or just the stunning visual nature of it.
Nick Fury was the best one.
Yeah, he's like,
so
you
good.
didn't expect Nick Fury to go. He's like, you got to be kidding me. Now, I will say something that excited me a lot. I'm not a big Captain Marvel fan in general, but I love that end scenes credit because I always love the cavalry coming, right? And somehow her coming into the mix is going to make a difference.
It's going to be so awesome next year, too, because the Captain Marvel movie will come out a month before the next
I love
Avengers
that.
movie.
And it looked like, you guys police me here and see if I'm being thinking too deep into it. That will look like an intergalactic space beeper, like she's off Earth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. It was a ramped up beeper from the 90s, which is when the Captain Marvel movie is going to be set.
Yeah, but it had it almost looked alien.
Yeah, it's that's like Kree-Tech or something.
Yeah,
like that's not right.
Yeah, so he's like, Captain Marvel. So somehow, I'm not saying she's powerful enough to beat Thanos.
Oh, really?
But,
because I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, Squirrel Girl can beat Thanos.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what.
They said it was, hey, this is Nicole as Squirrel Girl. What do you have a moment that got you in the feels the most?
Oh gosh.
Here, come on over. I'm not trying to make out with you. I'm trying to get you on the mic.
Spider-Man's. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
It was very 10th Doctor, and I'm just like,
that was already. Michael brought that up.
Yeah.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
Thank you.
I asked Michael that. Do you think that was Rocket Raccoon's nodding too. So.
See, Squirrel
Do you
Girl
think that was on purpose
and I
to
are
David
in
Tennant? That
total
I don't want to go.
It's very. I mean, there's a lot of similarity there. So I mean,
man.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. I got to get us to another break. When we come back, Richard earlier this week shared with me what he thinks was going on with Doctor Strange.
Okay.
And the
seems obvious, but okay.
Not mind.
The
Time Gem.
Time Gem. Yeah, duh. And we'll get into it after the break. But I was like, him handing over the Time Gem is somehow going to be an ace in the hole. I don't know what it is because he never said I'm doing this to save you. He said we're in the end game, and then he said it was the only way. Right? Yeah. And so you're like, well, something's up. But Richard had a quite different theory than I did. So I'm like, maybe he jiggled with it. I'm like, maybe he messed with the Time Gem somehow. But Richard had a pretty good theory, and it relates to Stark because I thought Stark was going to buy it. I'm like, they brought it all in with Stark. 10 years later, Stark's going down. I thought
we still have one more movie to go.
The end of this film is his worst nightmare. From the Iron Man
from the Avengers.
Yeah.
Where everybody. Oh, that's right. Okay, man, I got to get us to a break. When we come back, we'll dig into that stuff as much as we can. But anyway, folks, I'm going to take us to a break. Throw a little love on a sponsor here, if I can find my paperwork. Okay. Game Goblins is Central Arkansas's premier retailer of Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40K, board games, card games, RPGs, miniatures, and hobby accessories. Call Game Goblins at 501-224-GAME or visit them online at gamegoblins.com. That's 501-224-GAME or gamegoblins.com. Conveniently located at 1121 South Bowman. And, folks, they're having an adult game night tonight. So it's from like 5 till they close. People can bring a beverage. That doesn't mean everyone's going to be, stinky, goofy, and tired. It's just you can come out, bring a beer, have a beer, play a game, and it's just an adult environment, but that doesn't mean that it's an inappropriate environment. It's very nice. Darn. Yeah, darn. So go check that out tonight. But they're on 1121 South Bowman, right on the corner of Bowman and Canis in West Little Rock, staffed by friendly employees, and I heartily recommend them for all of your gaming needs. Make sure to check out their customer loyalty program that rewards you based on your actual purchases. Game Goblins earns your business and keeps it. First-time customers mention Shane Plays and receive $10 off your purchase of $50 or more. Tell them Shane Plays sent you. Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into things we love. But we're talking live on the scene, free comic book day here at Collector's Edition in North Little Rock. Come on out. I'm doing the live show from there. All right, so right before the break, we were talking theories on what Doctor Strange was up to. We also touched on the Iron Man saw a vision, no pun intended, of being like on an asteroid and everybody's dead and all the same time in the Mind Stone. But Richard and I were talking earlier this week, and I was like, well, it's obvious Doctor Strange did something when he handed over the time gem. Right. And my thing was like he somehow
booby-trapped it
somehow.
Or did something right.
Now, you had a different take, which I think is a better storytelling take. What was your take?
Well, just my theory and thought is that, as adamant as Strange was at the beginning of the film, letting Stark know that, hey, no matter how this goes down, if it's the stone or you, it's the stone. I'm not giving it up, and make no mistake about it. So I thought the emphatic nature of that particular scene in question
because
really set it hard.
Plot point.
Very, very much, right. Very strong, it was a very deliberate and very, very strongly stated moment in the film for viewers to take that in and realize, like, hey, yeah, okay, we know where Strange stands, right? So when we fast forward to that scene, and what I thought was hands down the best action scene in the whole film, with the adaptive armor, which they put that on screen, amazing,
so good.
Yeah. Just if you've read,
if you didn't catch it, there's actually nanotechnology that comes out of his chest piece.
I mean, if you read Bendis' run on Invincible Iron Man recently, and if you were a fan of that, Anyway. When Strange hands it over, my theory is that he used the time gem to look at all these alternate timelines to hopefully find something that's gonna get him victory. And there was only one.
There's only one out of 14
in my theory, the one includes Stark not dying at that moment in time by Thanos, and he's got to keep him alive because he knows that, and whatever it may be, whether he comes up, whatever solution he ultimately comes up with, Stark is the key, because Stark is really the. I mean,
so
if you think about
Stark had to survive.
He had to survive that moment, and Strange knew that, and Strange knew that he had to hand it over to keep him alive.
Tony was getting his junk junked in.
He was done. I mean, he was. In my opinion,
I thought he was about to die.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about? If you don't mind, how about the fact that Thanos was well aware of who Tony Stark was already?
Right.
How do you know about that?
Well, he said, Well, and Thanos, we unfortunately don't have time to get into this. Thanos was a strangely compelling and fascinating.
Amazing.
He was really. At the end of the movie, he sits down and looks at the sunset, or sunset. Like, look what I have done. He was the protagonist of this movie.
Absolutely.
Now we have a junior friend of the show. Just tell us your name, buddy.
Daniel Brackeen.
Hey, Daniel Brackeen. Did you like the movie?
Yes, sir.
All right. What was your? I'm going to move your mic up just a little bit here. What was your favorite moment?
What'd you like the most?
And all of it's a correct answer. If you
there's no bad answer. All right, which was there one of the characters that disappeared or got hurt that bothered you the most? That you were like, no.
When Black Panther vanished.
That would surprise me.
That was a biggie.
Yeah, that would surprise me. Well, was there a fight that you liked the best? Which fight did you like the best?
When Thanos was fighting those guys and he was asleep and then he just woke up.
Yeah, that was an amazing scene.
That was really nice.
Yeah, really good. So, well, thanks, Daniel. Anything else you wanna say? Thanks for coming on the radio. Yeah, are you like waiting for the part? Are you like, I got to see what happens next?
Yeah, I can't wait because it looks like it's going to be really nice since Captain Marvel is going to be in it.
Yeah. They did it. I'll tell you, that's the key.
Thanks for also bringing that up.
Yeah, that's the key to a good comic book or a good movie series. If you don't want to see what happens next, it doesn't matter what happened, right? No matter how well it was done, you want to know what happens next. So,
cliffhanger.
Thanks for what happened. Thanks for jumping on, Daniel. Really appreciate you. So, Thanos was a super compelling character, and when he said, like, I've been where you've been, I hope they remember you, I believe him.
Yeah.
Like he's really feeling that.
Oh, no, I think he was sincere in everything he said.
Well,
always the villains, the best villains are the ones who think that they're right.
Yeah, that they think they're the heroes of their own movie.
Yeah.
Right. And they, in a way, what he was trying to do, not how he was trying to do it, but his goals were not necessarily bad. I don't want people starving, and I don't want resources all used up.
Right.
And he was even like, we'll do it randomly so it's fair. But I'm not defending his action.
I noticed he didn't disappear.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if he included himself in that or not. I wonder, did he include himself in the, possibly?
Well, I mean, if you harken back to that original X-Men movie where, Magneto was doing this, great grand thing where he's trying for equality, and then Wolverine calls him out on, if you were so righteous, it'd be you in that machine.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, no doubt. So, hey, Zach, how much time we got left, buddy?
You got 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, so I want to give a couple more quick thoughts here. You mentioned on this earlier, Bill, they did a good job at still getting in some of those MCU character development moments in.
Oh, yeah.
And I also want to point out, Civil War was the first time we got to see the 2-page fight spread on screen.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've seen the summer crossover event on screen. Right. And they pulled it off. I still need to see how I think about it as an overall movie, but it was wildly entertaining and crazy, geeky, cool stuff going on. Really, really, really cool stuff. And then one thing I did want to say, I disagree slightly. I do think, this was something we talked about at the very beginning of the show, I do think anybody can go see this movie and enjoy it, whether you're familiar with the MCU or not. I do think, however, it's the first time they were like, we're going, and there's going to be a bunch of stuff going on in this movie that we're not going to go out of the way to handhold you on. You either know it by now or you don't. Train's leaving the station. Let's go. There was a lot of stuff that if you didn't know the other movies and the relationships, you wouldn't get.
Wow.
But that's not to say, anybody could watch this movie and go, wow, that was a good movie or entertaining. But this is the first time the MCU is like, we've been going this 10 years. We've been telling you this is coming. We're hitting the rockets and off we go.
Yeah,
and I really got that impression.
Not for nothing that they're justified in saying that.
Yeah, I think so too.
10 years and 19 movies. If you don't, it's your own fault if you don't know what's going on at this point.
Exactly. All right, Zach, what's our time?
A minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Okay, so guys, thanks so much for coming on. As always,
thanks for having
me. Radio goes so quickly. It's William Brackeen. Richard McBain, friends of the show, and then also friend of the show, comedian and host of Brain Trust, Michael Brown. I definitely want to see this movie again. Like I said,
Let's go.
Let's go right now. Let's go. I'd love to. I'd love to go see it again. Thanks again to the AR Avengers, Squirrel Girl, Rocket Raccoon, Logan, and others for being here. Don't forget, we're Collector's Edition. Come get your free comic books and 25% off graphic novels and back issues. But it seems like the general consensus among all of us is that Marvel pulled it off.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right.
100%.
And it is now dislodged Star Wars as biggest opening ever.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right, we got to do this. It has to be done. The bad joke of the day. You guys ready?
Yes.
You ready? If I could be any superhero, I think I'd be Aluminum Man. You know why?
No.
So my superpower could be foiling crime. Oh, God, man. Yeah, now you got to wait another year for for everybody to come back from that. So
Rocket's got his sights set on you after that joke.
All right.
I think it bears mentioning one more time that there are comic books here.
Yeah.
They are free.
Yeah, free comic books. Free comic books,
Yeah.
collector's edition. Folks, we'll catch you next time on Shane Plays.
They took the little ones. He's down. Frodo. Where is Frodo? I let Frodo go. Then you did what I could not. I tried to take the ring from him. The ring is beyond our reach now. Forgive me. I did not see. I have failed you all. No, Boromir. You fought bravely. You have kept your honor. Leave it. It is over. The world of men will fall, and all will come to darkness, and my city to ruin. I do not know what strength is in my blood, but I swear to you I will not let the White City fall, nor our people fail. Our people. Our people. I would have followed you, my brother. My captain. My king. Peace, son of Gondor.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.